South Florida's only rock station, 103.1 The Buzz. We have a champion now, Brian Blade.
I'm very excited. The Intercontinental Champion.
Wade Barrett from the Core. Hey, Wade.
Hello. Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Well, a pleasure to have you. And you're wrestling tonight in the big 8-man tag match. And this is your WrestleMania debut. Are you excited?
Yeah, very excited. It's obviously the biggest event of the year for us. Something I've been very excited about for a while once I heard it was going to be on the show. I think it's going to be a great show. I'm very much looking forward to my match, obviously the 8-man tag that you mentioned. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for guys to really excel and show what they can do. And I think it's going to be a great show for the fans.
Well, as we said before, this is your first WrestleMania. So what made you want to become a professional wrestler? Were you a fan as a kid? And if you were, what's going through your mind? Here I am wrestling at the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, I mean, I started watching WWE probably when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I was a huge fan from the moment I saw it. It was something that instantly resonated with me. I loved the action, the characters, the bright lights and the costumes and all that stuff, and it was something as a kid that I really got into. And then throughout growing up through my teens, I continued to be into it. I love the whole Attitude Era that happened with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, who are obviously going to be on WrestleMania this year. And then to actually be here now is really, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's a dream come true for me. I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do and something I'm very excited by.
You know, you say you're living your dream. We're living our dream, just getting to come out here to WrestleMania. I mean, just being a part of it. You feel they've taken over Atlanta. They've taken over Atlanta. You go anywhere in downtown Atlanta, and your face, they're on signposts. I mean, did you ever?
Yeah, never imagine it. I mean, as a kid, I used to lie in my room and I had a big poster of the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, on my wall, and I used to stare at the poster a lot and dream about what it'd be like to make it. And obviously, as a kid, you have a ton of dreams. You dream about going to the moon as an astronaut or playing professional soccer, or I imagine you probably didn't dream about playing soccer, but football,
real football.
Okay.
Being a professional wrestler too, except I'm vertically challenged, so I don't know,
Well, there's always the Shawn Michaels thing. If you can fly in the air.
Yeah, I'm not even quite as tall as he is. But anyway, let's get back to Wade.
Well, you bring up the British Bulldog. I mean, Brian, what do you think? Do you think that Wade Barrett would look good with a Matilda? Like bringing down a little bulldog with him?
I think Wade Barrett looks just fine with the Intercontinental Championship, but I think he will look even better in the future when he has the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist and the WWE Championship. He's going to unify those two championships one day and be the greatest of all time.
Well, why not? Well, Wade Barrett, you've done some pretty interesting things. We were telling you earlier before we went live here. You started a group called The Nexus in the WWE probably a little bit shy of a year ago. And I thought that was some really compelling and interesting things going on in the WWE. You took apart the ring that first night. You made a statement, and I think it was a pretty long run. Are you happy with what you guys performed there?
Yeah, I think we achieved way more than most people would have ever expected out of a group of guys who were termed as rookies at the time. I think in 2010, I think we started off the Nexus in June, and by the end of the year, I'd actually main evented in 5 different pay-per-views, which in itself is a huge achievement for a new guy. We were very happy with what we achieved that day. I think the actual invasion and the attack that we did back in June in Miami when we debuted Nexus, that's something that I think is going to live forever in the WWE, and I think people's careers are defined at the end of it by what they've achieved and what people remember, and that's something that I will always have, and the guys who did the attack that day will always have, and something we can obviously always be very proud of.
And everyone in South Florida loves the WWE. You were talking about that Miami incident, and of course they're coming back for Monday Night Raw on May 2nd. And then WrestleMania. I know it's early to talk about WrestleMania 28, but we've got WrestleMania 28 coming to South Florida, so we're really excited. And, that's part of the reason why they sent me up here, Wade, because we got to scout out. I mean, that's what I told my boss anyway. We got to scout out WrestleMania so that we know what to expect a year later.
Okay, well, WrestleMania is obviously going to be a huge show, and we're very excited about coming to Miami. The fact that I live in Tampa is even better. It's such a short ride for me to get down there. The weather's going to be great. Beautiful women everywhere. I mean, and then you got the great show WrestleMania, which is going to be there.
Little off topic, wait, but I got to know. Growing up, and you don't have to answer one. least 1, 2, or 3 your favorite wrestlers growing up, and a little bit as to why. Gotta know.
Well,
I just gotta know.
Number one will always be the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. He was my biggest inspiration. Obviously, the fact that he was British was the key thing for me as a kid. I wanted to be the patriotic guy supporting my man over there in America. And so, yeah, he's number one. I was also a huge fan of Bret the Hitman Hart. I think he was just so good in the ring and so great to watch. He really was the excellence of execution, and I don't think anybody could argue with that. And then
they went to Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart went toe to toe WrestleMania or SummerSlam 1992.
Absolutely, Wembley Stadium over this title that I'm now carrying here.
The original Wembley Stadium.
That's right, the original Wembley Stadium. I've been there several times watching football matches. But this is a huge deal for me because I'm obviously carrying the title that they fought over on that day, and that's actually my favourite match that I've ever seen in my life. And I was so emotional watching that match as a kid, and so thrilled when my guy British Bulldog won. So that's really cool. It's one of the best things about winning the Intercontinental title a couple of weeks ago.
And both of those superstars were just completely beloved by the crowd. Even Bret Hart. You know, you figure maybe. Kind of a home field advantage for Davey Boy Smith, but really it seemed to be, I would say 50-50,
yep.
And everyone just enjoyed that match, and that's why that match was the last match.
Definitely,
on the
card. That was something I don't think will ever happen again. I don't think the Intercontinental title will ever be the last match of a pay-per-view ever again, but that speaks a lot about how important that match was at the time and how much the fans enjoyed it. And you're right, it was a 50-50 split in the fans, I think.
Well, not until you wrestle at Wembley Stadium in London, England, and you defend the Intercontinental Championship. But hopefully by the time that happens, you'll be the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm a big fan. I'm a big supporter of you ever since the beginning. So
he's been, ever since we got the assignment that we're going to be interviewing Wade, he's been going crazy, tweeting, texting, Facebooking. There's a couple of other MySpacing, if anybody has a MySpace. No, he's thrilled. We're thrilled to have you. We're here live, WrestleMania. It's just a few short hours away. You can order it exclusively on pay-per-view starting at 7 p.m. The most electrifying host in WrestleMania history. You talked about it earlier. The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's like a blast from the past. If you used to watch the WWE back in what they call the Attitude Era, this is the time to check out WrestleMania. It's new people like you, Wade Barrett, and it's your old favorites like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock.
Yep, definitely. It's going to be an amazing event. I mean, the fact that guys like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Trish Stratus as well, have all come back. They're people I used to watch before I even got started as a wrestler or as a performer. So it's great to see them come back. I was obviously a huge fan of them one day, and I think that a lot of people around the world who were fans of them back in the late 90s or early 2000s are really getting very interested in WrestleMania because they're here, and it's great to get all these new fans back on board and get them watching all the new guys like myself.
So Now, this is not happening, but The Rock has been having a little words with John Cena. Now, if they were to wrestle in a match, The Rock versus John Cena, what's your prediction?
It's very difficult for me to predict based on the fact that I've never locked horns with The Rock. I've obviously had quite an extended feud with John Cena, and I know how tough he is. I know how good he is. I'd have to go with John Cena purely because I think The Rock is going to have some ring rust. He's been out of the ring for about 7 years or so now, and I think that's probably going to show. John Cena's obviously very finely tuned. He's been wrestling for a long time. He's been at the top for a long time, and I know how good he is. So I think I'd lean towards John Cena on that one.
So what you're saying, there's no take two. The Rock can't go, hey, cut.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's the difference between WWE and Hollywood. You're very, very much correct there. But yeah, I think it'd be a great match if that ever did happen. I'm for one, would certainly be watching.
Great.
I do have to go backwards because I did forget one important question. You're such a big fan growing up. We're talking about Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart with the Intercontinental Championship. If you can describe in any way the feeling you had when you made that pinfall and you were raised as the new Intercontinental Champion, what was it like? Like, as a fan growing up, all that, or is it just a blur?
I think the exact moment where I won the title, it very much was a blur. It's like anything else that I do. When I beat John Cena at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which was probably the biggest moment of my career at that point, when we did the Nexus invasion, when we attacked the ring, it doesn't really sink in until a couple of days later when I get home and I'm sat at home. But when it actually happens, I'm so focused, so in the zone that it really is just another day for me. And it's only when I get home that it sinks in. But obviously, once I did get home and opened my bag and saw the title sitting there, I had a moment where I I took it into the bathroom, stared at myself in the mirror wearing it, did some flexing, did all that stuff, and yeah, it's a pretty cool moment, and obviously something I'm very thrilled by.
Well, even before that, is there that moment in the hotel room? Everyone's gone away. I'm assuming that you're traveling alone, that your wife is back at home, and you're just there, and it's quiet, and you just have that belt. And you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is an amazing moment. I mean, I actually room with Heath Slater quite a lot when we're on the road, and he won the tag title, the WWE tag title, for the first time about 3 or 4 months ago. And I remember the night he won it, he was just walking around the room wearing it. And obviously I didn't have a title then, so I was, looking at him, just shaking my head, thinking how ridiculous he's acting and all this stuff. And then 4 months later, obviously it's the reverse, because I've got the title now, and I was walking around and he was just watching me shaking his head, thinking I'm being a kid. And yeah, so it is a great moment really to win.
Well, this past Friday was April Fool's, and it got me thinking, and we asked this yesterday of Jack Swagger. In this business, you guys are going all over city to city, and there's usually some jokes, some practical jokes played on each other. And I know it was April Fool's on Friday. I don't know what happened on Friday, but do you have any good stories? You've been on the road for a while. I don't know if you're the perpetrator or if something was perpetrated on you. Usually when the newer guys usually get a lot of the brunt of these types of ribs, as they like to call it.
Yeah, probably the best thing we did was when we just started the Nexus off. One of the guys, Justin Gabriel in the Nexus, he knows a guy who can make these giant magnets. And he got this guy to make these giant magnets with a big yellow N on, and one day we stuck them on John Cena's tour bus when he wasn't looking, so he was driving around with all this Nexus stuff on there, so that was probably my favourite thing we've done so far.
Is that where everything, is that what's happening now with some of the superstars now? They're getting tour buses as opposed to flying. I know the Big Show is notorious for having a tour bus. Part of the reason was it's difficult for him to fly. He's a very large person. I've heard Triple H has the tour bus. Do you see that a lot now? A lot of people doing the tour bus, they find it's more convenient for them to have themselves driven and kind of have their essentially their living quarters right there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's something that you need to have been around for a certain amount of time. You need to have really achieved a lot, and obviously be able to afford it in the first place. Those things are very, very expensive.
You have to have approval, right? You can't just get a tour bus.
Yeah, part of the problem is the parking and things like that at the building, so you need to be at a certain level. But it's if you've got one of them tour buses, basically you've got your hotel there, you've got a fridge full of food, you've got a guy driving you around, so you do actually save a lot of money on rental cars and things like that too. But yeah, you got your Xbox, you got TV in there. Those things are amazing. I mean, I've been on board a couple of them and socialised on them. Those things are really, really cool, and obviously the fact that we travel so much. I mean, the average drive for us, I mean, we do maybe 4 or 5 shows a week, and the average drive for us is probably 4 hours. So if you think, you've actually got your bed on there, you can sleep while your driver is driving you to wherever you go, and it really does save you a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and you get a lot more sleep time on those buses. So yeah, they're definitely, if you can afford them, and if you're at that level, it's definitely worth having. Very beneficial.
Well, forget about the Intercontinental Championship. You probably have like 1 million Delta Sky Miles.
Yeah, they're racking up. That's for sure. It's I think I'm platinum on 3 of the main airlines now, so I'm definitely getting high up there.
Nice. You get to walk right in, use their club services.
Yeah, they're overrated.
Hot shower.
To be honest with you.
That true?
They're really not that good.
They're not that good. Not worth so don't buy the $50 pass, is what you're saying?
No, absolutely not. You get a couple of free cans of Diet Coke, and that's about it these days.
Speaking of established guys who have had tour buses over the years, I have to know, and again, you don't have to give me one, you could give me 1, 2, or 3, of anyone you could ever wrestle, past, present, future, who would those 3 wrestlers be?
Okay.
Past, present, or future, could be all of one or none, neither one.
Alive or not alive?
Live or dead?
Okay, well, the first one I'd like to wrestle would definitely be the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. He's obviously, like I say, my hero. To be able to step in the ring with him would have been amazing. Obviously, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but yeah, he's still the guy I'd love to get in the ring with the most. Guys, presently, I think CM Punk is probably the guy I'd love to step in the ring with. We've got a bit of history. I think I owe him. We had the whole thing where he took over the Nexus from me and stabbed me in the back a little. So I know it's unbelievable behaviour, but I feel like I owe him. So he's somebody down the road that I definitely like to lock horns with. I mean, future superstars is a bit of a difficult one. I think there's quite a few new guys coming up in the WWE at the moment that I think have got very bright futures ahead of them. I think Alberto Del Rio is obviously in one of the main events at WrestleMania for the for the World Heavyweight title, against Edge. He's somebody who I think I'd like to lock horns with in the future too, and have a good match. And then there's other guys like Evan Bourne, who I think is going to be a huge star, and he's somebody I think I would have some very good matches with, and somebody I'd like to lock up with too. So future's a bit of a difficult one because you never know quite where everyone's going to end up, but those are a couple of guys I've got my eye on.
Wade Barrett live tonight on pay-per-view. You can order it. It's exclusively on pay-per-view, 7 o'clock Eastern. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Appreciate it.